Good evening, everyone. Really happy to be here. Some quick background. She already shared some of those details. I'm a serial entrepreneur, so I've had 7 companies founded. My previous 6 companies were in the United States. Saigon A.I is the 7th company. And so I've had several exits from those companies as well. So I like to tell people that most days I know what I'm doing in order to make a company to grow. And it's been exciting to adapt and apply some of the things that we've learned to the Vietnamese market. It's interesting from the last talk here, I definitely had the sniff of opportunity at Vietnam whenever we chose to move here before. And this is absolutely the entrepreneurial thing. I think there's a fit, I think there's a need, and you try it, you test it, you measure it, and you find out whether or not it can be a real thing. So let's talk a little bit about AI again. AI is the hot topic. Everyone here says, wow, AI is fantastic. I'm sorry, I'm not going to have that same story. I'm going to share with you the things that you should be concerned about. I'm going to share with you the things that maybe you didn't think about, that you should know about, that will help protect you from making naive mistakes. So there's a whole lot different from the expectations and reality of AI. One of the most important things that you need to know is that return on investment is really difficult to measure. Anybody who says otherwise doesn't know the market. Things are changing so fast. I mean, when we started Saigon A.I, language models were not a thing. LLMs were not here when we started the company 7 years ago. So now, in the last 2 years, they've become dominant. And we learn about things like hallucinations. Oh, it's a language model that is giving you information, but it lies 30% of the time. This is a real problem that you need to be careful for to make sure that you're not building on transitional technology. So the cost and other things, there's just so much to it. The key is that you should not rely on just what you're receiving from the big news. Let's be honest. The big technology companies are sending out a message about AI that is not entirely accurate. It supports their agenda, their message. They have big models, they have services they want you to use, and they're saying, this is AI, this is the future. But of course, they're not going to tell you about the things that are not going well with it. They're not going to tell you about the concerns for it. Let's just make one thing very, very clear here. When we're talking about personal use AI, things like ChatGPT to help you write content, and image extenders and outpainters that allow you to adapt with pictures, definitely use those. These are personal tools that help to enhance your productivity, that help you to do a better job. Definitely use those. And the companies in your portfolio, definitely use those. It's a different game whenever you are trying to build a new automation or a new AI-powered product that you're delivering to people. Completely different. If you go into it naive, you will have problems. It is not an easy market to play in. So the cost versus benefit, I already started talking about this, which is the fact that you don't know what you don't know. And anybody who says that they can deploy an LLM model at large enterprise scale, and they know how to measure the cost effectively, is not being entirely honest with you. Now we have new information coming out in the market now. There is a war going on between the big players with language models. The brand new models that are coming out, competing with OpenAI, they're trying to drive that price down. This is fantastic for us because they're fighting over who can have the lower cost model that you can use for LLM transactions. And it's just going to drive the price lower, lower, lower. So it's actually something reasonable. Right? This is happening right now. I think the news came out in the last 2 days about this new model that's going to start to compete with OpenAI. But let's talk about some of the other challenges we got going on here. And I promise I'm going to bring some rainbows and happiness to this talk. It's not all about bashing AI, because I love AI. I mean, I'm the founder of Saigon A.I. I love the technology, but I love discipline of using the technology more than I just love shiny things. Right? And this is what we have to talk about. So, if you haven't seen some of these headlines, you really need to read some of these, right? This is some challenging stuff here. The one that is amazing is nearly half of business AI projects are abandoned midway. Gee, I wonder why. because they're chasing something shiny. They're chasing trying to get to market faster than they should with proper business discipline. Look, there are people at all levels of the market globally that have this problem. So don't let that be you. This talk is for you to make sure that you take your time to do things right. If you're chasing to beat somebody to market, you probably have blind spots. You need to make sure you're doing it correctly. Even Sam Altman didn't know entirely how his own AI works. That should make you worry a little bit. Okay. The first thing not to do is don't expect magic. Don't expect your AI to solve all of your problems. Now, all the things that I'm sharing here, there are a twist of perspective here. All right, there's positive things to all these, but what I'm trying to say is, don't say, oh, this problem that I haven't figured out that's in front of me, I'll just make AI do it. Let me hire somebody or let me get a company that says that's going to solve it for me. Because if you can't figure it out, then your expectations are misaligned. One of the best pieces of advice that I give to companies, because I'm also an investor and work with startups as well. One of the best pieces of advice that I give people, they have success whenever you tightly define expectations of exactly what each AI automation should do. What I tell people to do is to write a job description for the AI. It's a really simple exercise, right? It's simply to say, if I'm going to hire a human, but I'm actually going to put an AI in there, I have a really clear definition of the job. I'm going to give you this information as input. I expect you to do this work with it, and I expect the output to look like this. And here's how I'm going to measure it for success. If it's within these thresholds, good enough. And if it's not, then it's unacceptable. This simple exercise is going to save you a lot of effort. So don't expect it to do magic. Do write a job description for the AI that will help you to understand exactly what you expect it to do. If you can't understand that job description, then you can't expect AI to actually accomplish it the way you're expecting. Really simple, bite-sized tip. Number 2, don't expect results from your AI that are better than your best people. So we have AI that can write papers that pass Harvard exams and things like that. Some of the quality is pretty good. There isn't really true understanding in those AI models, but the quality of the output sounds pretty good, all right? But if you're talking about even practical things like graphics design, image generation, or you're talking about how it's supposed to generate content or make queries in your data to give customers things, don't expect that AI is always going to be better than the people that you've already hired and trained as experts. It's unlikely to meet that high level of expectation. Instead, tell yourself, I can make an AI that is likely to do at an 80% or a 90% level. And then ask yourself the question, is that going to be good enough? AI is not perfect. Anybody who tells you otherwise is trying to sell you a product that doesn't work. AI is not perfect. Don't expect it to be perfect. If you have this healthy expectation, that allows you a much better opportunity to measure results and to be able to choose wisely about the quality of your output and if it actually is going to give you a return on investment. Here's another one people love to talk. Oh no, AI is coming for all of our jobs. The reality is AI is just like any other massive shift in industry. When it comes, it's going to change jobs. You might move them from here and create them there. It's not going to massively wipe out the workforce. So if you're thinking to yourself, oh, I can reduce my 100, 200 employee count down to 20 because I'm going to AI everything, then look at the previous 2 slides, right, first, before you make some of those decisions. But the truth is, this same thing has happened in industry before, right? As soon as we had the printing press for paper, all of a sudden, all the people who had jobs that were copying books, they said, oh no, my livelihood is gone, okay? And the thing is, if people refuse to adapt to the new technology, yes, those jobs are at risk. But if they embrace the change, we were just talking about this, embracing the change, then they have the opportunity to adapt and fill new spots. So with AI, not only are we going to automate certain pieces of applications, but now we're creating new jobs for people that need to make sure that the quality output is all right, that are monitoring the system, that are analyzing the data of how it runs, that know what to do when it breaks. Just like an automation for a manufacturing line. You've got one piece that you want to automate, you've got humans, and then one piece in the middle that you're going to put a machine in. You better know the inputs, you better know the outputs, and then you better know who to call when it breaks. And that may be fast, it may not be fast to fix, but you better know all those things. AI is no different than that. It's not just like a software code problem where you might be able to call your engineer and say, I've got a bug when this exact thing happens. In fact, it's a bit different with an automation and an AI, and you may not be able to fix that problem super quick. So you better understand and know how that works. Don't expect amazing ROI. Now, there is ROI to be had. In fact, one of the services we provide at Saigon A.I, we do sales and inventory predictions for some pretty large companies in Europe. And the manual analysis that they did with their human-driven departments compared to what we do with machine learning, we've improved predictions about their sales and inventory stuff better than 50% improvement in the quality of output because of what we've done. ROI is there. But if you have an unhealthy expectation of ROI, you may be disappointed because there are hidden costs all the way through. So again, the reason we're talking about these is not to throw water on everybody's excitement of AI, quite the opposite. What I'm trying to bring this back to is entrepreneurs and investors have a brain for a reason. It's a reason why you're in the position that you're in, all right? Don't outsource your thinking to AI, all right? The quality of the decisions you make and the reasons why you've been successful is because you have intuition. You know methodologies for testing. You test things, you try them, you ask questions, you dig. Because if something doesn't smell right, you want to know why. AI is not going to care. AI is just an automation. It's going to train it, you're going to give it something, it's going to give you an answer back. If you blindly accept it, then that is bad on you, not on the AI, right? So, we love AI, but we love discipline more. AI is just a tool. We learn to apply it in the right way, and the discipline is what allows us to make good choices with those things. Unless we talk about a lot of these things. So let's talk about the do's. I like the little bullets. I'll change that. That's cool. Set realistic expectations. Please, if you remember one thing from the talk, never say yes to any AI project, to build, to buy, to fund, unless you really understand how it's working. Okay? Think of it this way. You go to a hospital. Maybe you're taking your mother for a scan for something for health. And the doctor says, oh, we're going to use an AI that's going to scan and look at the picture and then tell you whether or not there's a problem or everything's clear. Okay, it's a modern time, we're going to say that. But maybe my question should be, oh, that's interesting you're using AI. Can I see the white paper behind there so I can understand the success rates? Okay? If they can provide that to me with real information, wow, my comfort level goes way up. But if they cannot provide that, run away, right? Because if the company startup says, our AI can do magic, well, how does this work? Before I write you a check to invest, I need to know how does this work. Shouldn't worry about that. We just know it works. All right, that makes me worried. Maybe last year you could get a lot of funding with that argument. But not now. The industry is starting to mature. This is still, language models are still transitional technology, but the market is beginning to mature enough. And so the truth that I'm trying to drop for you today is use the business sense that you have don't be quick to accept something AI unless you really understand what it's doing and how it's doing it. Because good business people and good technical founders will be able to explain it to you. Maybe you don't need all the details, but enough. All right, thank you very much.